This is Service to Humanity, and you are welcome to another episode of the program, specially put together to update you on the activities of the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. My name is Habiba Zakzak, your anchor. Last week, we brought you a review of some major events in the ministry in the year 2022, with a focus on two of the clusters of the National Social Investment Program, the NPOWER and the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. Tonight, in continuation of the review of the NSIPs, we shall be focusing on the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, and the Grants for Vulnerable Groups, GVG. Join me after the break for more details of the program.
Mo ṣàǹfààní gidigidi lára tèmi nílé mi o àtàwọn ọmọ mi o torí ara oúnjẹ ara pákí díẹ̀ ní àṣegàrí à ń tẹ̀bà à ń ṣèbẹ̀ à ń jẹun ìjọba ṣeun lọ́wọ́ á ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ ètò tó dáa ni tó fáìn tó dáa ni torí ìjọ yẹn gan tí wọ́n pé owó yẹn ẹlòmíì kò sí nǹkan kan pé bóyá bákan jíjẹ ṣùgbọ́n gba adé báyìí wọ́n kọ́kọ́ yà ayọ̀ 2000 wọ́n ṣèbẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ inú wọn dùn ara ráìsì àdàṣẹ́ǹjì tó kù sórí ìka pákí pé ká lè máa rí mu jẹun díẹ̀díẹ̀ ìjọba ṣeun.
Thanks for staying tuned. The program begins with the Management Diary, where we bring you news on recent happenings in the humanitarian ministry as well as from her agencies. On the news, NEMA begins second phase of food items distribution in Borno. This and more coming your way shortly. Don't go away.
The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Haji Asadia Umar Farouk, has reaffirmed her dedication to a friendly working relationship with the joint unions in the ministry towards carrying out the ministry's mandate efficiently. Farouk stated this during the ministry's first Union Week celebration, which held at the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation in Abuja. The minister, who was represented by Dr. Nasir Sanugwarzo, the permanent secretary of the ministry, commended the union for its hard work and regard for management. The minister asserted that all employees have a right to training, and because of its importance, she pledged to authorize more staff training in accordance with the budget, while emphasizing additional welfare programs such as the availability of extra staff buses for employee transportation. She also announced that the ministry would move to a new, more appropriate permanent location this year, and tasked the union with maintaining a cordial working relationship with the management. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, has kicked off the second phase of distribution of food items to 8,000 homes of internally displaced people in 4 camps and host towns in Borno State, using supplies received from the King Salman Humanitarian Aid and Relief Center, KS Relief. Director General NEMA, Mustafa Ahmed, who flagged off the distribution in Maiduguri, revealed that about 16,000 IDP households in Borno State are expected to benefit from the entire exercise from the food donation by KS Relief. About 8,000 IDP households had already benefited from the earlier distribution of aid by NEMA in December 2022. The Director General, who was represented by the Director of Planning, Research and Forecasting, Hajia Fatima Suleiman Qasim, said each household is expected to have 59.8 kilograms of the food basket, which is made up of 25 kilograms of rice, 25 kilograms of beans, 4 kilograms of masa vita flour, 2 kilograms of tomato paste, liters of groundnut oil, 1 kilogram of salt, and 0.8 kilogram of Maggi cubes. Stakeholders in migration matters in Imo State have emphasized the need for integration of migration programs as well as coordinate activities in the state. This resolution was reached at the end of the 2022 Imo State Migration Dialogue Committee meeting, which had representatives from the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NSIP, the Imo State Government, Red Duja International, as well as other CSOs. The panel discussed how to consistently mobilize the states, local governments, and CSOs through a decentralized process in order to bring the conversation about migration to the general public and strengthen the channels of contact with migration focal points. According to the communique signed by the chairman of the panel, Honorable Eddie Duru, and the co-chairman, Chief Neto Nwadi, the locals, especially in Imo State and other states, are the real people who feel the impacts of migration, both positive and negative. Hence, the need for this year's focus on decentralization of migration governance. The communique further hopes that every local government, community, and village would be included in the plan to decentralize migration governance, which will tremendously benefit the people of Imo State.
Welcome back. It has been 7 years of touching lives of poor and vulnerable Nigerians through the National Social Investment Programs. The fact remains that as it was designed to guarantee a more equitable distribution of resources to disadvantaged populations, including children, youth, and women, the NSIPs is one tool the Nigerian government has used to lift millions of Nigerians out of poverty. Tonight, our review of major happenings in the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development for the year 2022 continues with a focus on the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP 2.0, and Grant for Vulnerable Groups, GVG. Let's have recaps of some of their events. Stay tuned.
The Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, one of the 4 components of the National Social Investment Program, NSIP, is a loan scheme designed by the federal government to provide financial inclusion and give credit access to poor and vulnerable individuals, including persons with disabilities, PWDs, and persons at the bottom of the economic pyramid who are involved in small-scale commercial activities.
The other cluster, which is to do with the Government Empowerment and Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, was reviewed. Earlier it had contributed to empowering between 2 to 3 million people, but it has been changed to become very inclusive and so on and so forth. And as we speak, the GEEP is actually transferring resources to market women, which is a very, very critical sector of the economy, to the traders roasting corn, selling sugar cane, tiger nut, and so on and so forth, and small-scale farmers within the tune of 1.5 to 2 million beneficiaries. This is ongoing. So many of the trained and skilled people from Empower are actually being empowered by the loans so that you can expand the wealth creation activity.
NOAA is an agency of government out to promote the policies, programs, and activities of government.
Following the national launch of the program in 2021, sensitization and registration was then carried out in all local governments across the country, where interested individuals were given forms to fill. The year 2022 started with a review meeting by the National Orientation Agency, an implementing partner of the GEEP 2.0, in its Abuja office. The meeting was aimed at highlighting the challenges that came up and the lessons learned from the physical registration and digitization of the data of potential beneficiaries. It had in attendance the NSIP National Coordinator, Dr. Binder, master trainers, social focal persons, and community orientation and mobilization officers. The National Coordinator, Dr. Umar Binder, highlighted some of the challenges encountered in the course of assessment of proper implementation of the GEEP 2.0 program and efforts put in place for the actualization.
We've already indicated when GEEP 1.0 or GEEP was implemented under His Excellency's office, the Office of the Vice President, it was only Bank of Industry. And I think it was very convenient. Just get an institution, drop the program there, and just leave it like that. Whatever happens, you have somebody to answer. But getting it institutionalized in that way will become different, because you have Bank of Industry has its own mandate, and then you bring another program, there will be some issues to do with instability. So moving it to the ministry, and we were directed strictly to ensure that we institutionalize this.
Fatiha Askederin, Special Advisor to the President on
Media and Enlightenment,
also spoke on the significance of the partnership with NOA and how far it has come.
The NOA has been a very worthy partner in this work that we are doing. NOA has presence in all the 774 local government. So we leverage on that partnership to make sure that GEEP reaches all the LGAs in this country. So it has been a good partnership. We have had very good response from the NOA office, and we hope to continue to sustain it.
the federal government of Nigeria established the NSIP programs.
In the same vein, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development held in advance training on digitization and registration for program managers and master trainers in order to rejig the efforts to meet the objectives of the GEEP program.
The aim of the training is to bring everybody to reduce friction between institutions. Here we have National Orientation Agency, we have the government representative, the political heads in the states, also the civil servants in the state. And our experience in the past is that people are flexing for who is in control, who is not in control. So this training program has attempted to break the barriers and create them into a team, a formidable team for success. And we believe that we have achieved this objective. Now is to go to the field and be able to deliver these loans and ensure the people succeed to pay the loans successfully.
He further speaks on the impact of the training on the agenda of uplifting the poor and vulnerable out of poverty.
The GEEP is about transmitting microcredit to the poor and vulnerable, and we expect them to pay for more people to benefit. So for them to pay, to be able to repay, they have to be successful. So this team here are the people who will go to the states, deliver these loans, and also ensure that these people work hard to repay so that we can actually sustain the program. And therefore, this training is successful. It is going to impact on the program successfully, and we hope by implication successfully we will continue to address the issues of poverty in our country.
Participants were taken through the new GEEP registration policy, enumeration process and procedures, dashboard presentation, digitization value, as well as digital ethics and decision making.
What I was expecting was exactly what I saw, because we expected that most of the things should be practical sessions, and that is what we are seeing, because when you go to the field, it's practical, it's not theory.
We are looking forward to do more of this interactive session, so that we are going to, each state is going to showcase its own experiences and predicament.
For smooth implementation, the Humanitarian Ministry has partnered with the National Orientation Agency. Together, a series of trainings to equip stakeholders was carried out across the 6 geopolitical zones. Furthermore, a nationwide enumeration for selected potential beneficiaries of trader money and market money under the GEEP 2.0 was carried out, an exercise which was widely commended.
With what we have seen so far, you can tell that the response is okay, because we did our work very well, went around, we informed them, and so also sent text messages to them.
We appreciate them for what they have done.
You're welcome, ma.
By September 2022, the program saw its nationwide disbursement flag off by the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, where she traveled to various states of the Federation to mark the commencement of disbursements to beneficiaries.
I must state that these beneficiaries will be onboarded to begin the 6-month apprenticeship. During the period, they will be attached to master craft persons to enable them gain practical experience. They will receive a monthly stipend of 10,000 naira.
Another program that saw it launch alongside the GEEP was the Grant for Vulnerable Groups, GVG. The GVG is targeted at the most vulnerable of women to help empower them economically. Each beneficiary gets a grant of 20,000 naira. The minister, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, in her address during the flag-off, revealed that the program, which was introduced in 2020, aims at sustaining the social inclusion agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration.
It is consistent with the national target of lifting 100 million Nigerians out of poverty by the year 2030. It is designed to provide a one-off grant to some of our vulnerable rural and peri-urban people across the country.
National Program Coordinator, National Cash Transfer Office Hajia Halima Shehu, while giving a brief on the progress recorded on the program, made it known that Nuban accounts have been opened for beneficiaries.
From the National Cash Transfer Office, we have fully digitized the process. And we have over 1.9 million beneficiaries that now have a Nuban account across commercial banks in the country.
Some beneficiaries expressed appreciation to the federal government for the initiative.
I want to say thank you for our father, Buhari. I want to say thank you for everyone, for helping us, for everything, for giving us this money for the business, to start up the business.
We appreciate President Buhari. We heard men and women were being supported with cash for their businesses, and so we came. We are very grateful for the funds.
The program is still service to humanity. In the last segment, we reviewed some major activities under the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program GEEP 2.0 and Grant for Vulnerable Groups GVG. There was more, especially on the GEEP 2.0, as the ministry followed up with monitoring of the implementation of the program to ascertain if beneficiaries have received their loans and how some of them were putting it to use. Let's recap some of those visits. Keep watching.
Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, an initiative by the federal government of Nigeria to provide financial inclusion and access to microcredit for Nigerians at the bottom of the economic pyramid, was launched with two broad objectives: granting access to funding by providing microloans in an easily accessible way to those at the bottom of the pyramid who engage in commercial activities but face significant challenges with access to finance, credit, and granting financial inclusion through the microloan offers and access to finance by ensuring beneficiaries are brought under the formal financial sector and can further seize the opportunity to access the credit products from financial service providers. Considering the poverty index in the country, the GEEP program was restructured to accommodate an impact of the lives of more Nigerians.
The money I receive from federal government, so I use this money to improve my business. So I will thank the federal government for the give me and one of the beneficiary of this program. Thank you.
We thank the federal government for the initiative, for the money given for us. Thank you so much. Thank you.
With a high rate of success so far recorded in disbursement, a nationwide on-the-spot check to assess progress, identify challenges, and eliminate bottlenecks in the program implementation has been ongoing. In Jigawa State, beneficiaries' turnout for the monitoring and evaluation of the GEEP program was impressive. They updated officials on their loan status, updated their details, and laid complaints on their challenges. Usman Mohammed, lead coordinator of the Jigawa Monitoring and Evaluation Team, spoke on the aim of the exercise and some of his observations.
We're here in Birnin Kudu purposely to come and check how the GEEP activities is going on. We are assigned to visit the states and also go around at least visit 3 local governments in the states. So we are here today to commence our activities in the states. And already we have administered some questionnaires to the beneficiaries, 10 of them, and after which we'll be also leaving to the another LGAs. So far, what we are seeing here is there is improvement. It's just that some of them have a little complaints that inshallah will also forward it to the appropriate authorities, and we hope very soon it will be rectified.
Master trainer for GEEP in Jigawa State, Ahmed Tijani Ibrahim, while lauding the federal government for such initiative, gave an update on the program in the state.
I want to appreciate the present government by providing the opportunity to small-scale farmers and small-scale business people. That this loan for 50,000 and 50,000 to 300,000 for farmers, 50,000 to trader money and market money beneficiaries. As I'm talking to you now, over 3,000 beneficiaries have been enumerated and issued ATM in Jigawa State. Some of them have even got their disbursement. They have withdrawn and started the petty business they are doing.
The story was not different for Kano State, where 680 beneficiaries were selected to benefit from the program. The beneficiaries came out in their numbers to meet with the monitoring and evaluation team for progress assessment and redress of challenges faced in the implementation process. Like all programs under the NSIPs, GEEP was designed to give every Nigerian equal opportunity at earning a living, and that include persons living with disability. GEEP Desk Officer for Bichi Local Government of Kano State, Sadiq Lawal Abubakar, spoke on that as he assessed the impact of GEEP program in the lives of beneficiaries.
In those ones that were able to get it, there were a lot of people with permanent disability, and there were some people that were deaf, there were some people that were left out, and others. About 20 of them were lucky to get it. And right now, I have brought some of the people with disability for you to see, and if at all the journalists wanted to see how they were doing, some of them they bought sewing machines. They were now sewing things in their own houses. In my own assessment, the NC program, the 4 programs of NC, that is the Empower, the GEEP program, the homegrown food program, and the conditional cash transfer, GEEP is one of the ones that is appropriate, and it reaches the people in the rural areas. In my own list of beneficiaries, you will find out that the beneficiaries were across the 11 wards of Bichi local government. All of them, there is fair distribution of the program to poor and vulnerable households in the local government. And we are sure that if the government will continue with the tempo, there's going to be upliftment from the poverty line to people that were above the poverty line.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And that's our package on this episode of Service to Humanity. Join me again, same time next week and same station for more on the strides of the ministry and her agencies in reaching the nation's most vulnerable with the initiatives of the federal government to better their lives. My name is Habiba Zakzak, saying good night and God bless.